Deep within the rainforest of what is now Nigeria, the Benin Empire stood as a marvel of human civilization. At its zenith, the empire was renowned for its intricate urban planning, flourishing trade networks, and artistic innovations. Yet amidst the splendor and progress of the kingdom, there loomed an ambition so grand that it would define the empire's legacy for centuries: the Great Wall of Benin. This colossal project was a feat of engineering and determination, but beneath the monumental achievement lay a complex tale of human toil, ambition, and the weight of consequence. The idea of constructing the Great Wall was born out of both necessity and ambition. By the 8th century, as the kingdom grew in size and influence, so did the threats from neighboring tribes and external invaders. The Obas of Benin, rulers who were considered divine, envisioned the wall as a protective barrier that would secure the heart of their empire. However, it wasn't until the reign of Oba Ogola in the 13th century that the project truly began to take shape. Ogola's vision went beyond mere defense. He saw the wall as an enduring symbol of Benin's power, a testament to the might of his rulers, and a legacy that would outlive his reign. The wall's construction was an arduous process that spanned several centuries. Historians estimate that over 16,000 kilometers of walls and moats were constructed, encircling towns, villages, and farmlands across the kingdom. The sheer scale of the project was unprecedented. It required moving more earth than the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. The workers employed a traditional technique known as digging and heaping. They would excavate deep moats using the displaced earth to build high embankments reinforced with wood and other materials. The walls were designed not only to repel invaders, but also to act as a psychological deterrent. To outsiders, they symbolize the impenetrable might of Benin. But such an ambitious undertaking came at a tremendous cost. The labor required to build the wall disrupted the lives of countless people. Men, women, and even children were conscripted from their villages, forced to abandon their farms, workshops, and families to work on the project. The laborers toiled under harsh conditions, often for months or even years at a time. The constant demand for manpower left entire regions vulnerable to famine as fields were left untended and food supplies dwindled. Diseases spread rapidly among the labor camps, claiming the lives of many who had been forced into service. As the years went by, dissent began to brew among the people. The Obas, who were revered as divine figures, now faced growing criticism from their subjects. Families who had lost loved ones to the grueling labor questioned whether the wall was worth the cost. Whispers of rebellion began to circulate, though few dared to voice their discontent openly. The royal court, too, was divided. Some advisors supported the project, seeing it as a necessary measure for the empire's security and legacy, while others argued that it was an unnecessary drain on resources. Those who opposed the Oba's vision often met with mysterious and untimely ends. Adding to the controversy were the stories of dark rituals associated with the wall's construction. It was said that the Obas believed the wall needed spiritual protection to endure the test of time. According to oral histories, rituals were conducted to invoke the favor of the gods, and these often involved human sacrifices. Some accounts claim that workers were buried alive beneath the foundations of the wall to ensure its stability. Whether these tales are fact or folklore, they added an aura of fear and mystique to the Great Wall, further complicating its legacy. For the people of Benin, the wall became a paradox, a symbol of both pride and pain. On the one hand, it stood as a testament to their collective strength and ingenuity, a reminder of what they could achieve together. On the other, it was a stark reminder of the sacrifices they had been forced to make. For the Obas, the war was a source of power and legitimacy, but also a source of tension and conflict. The lesson to be drawn from the origins of the Great War of Benin is one that resonates across time and cultures. Ambition is a double-edged sword. While the pursuit of greatness can inspire extraordinary achievements, it can also lead to unintended consequences if pursued without regard for the well-being of others. The story of the war serves as a cautionary tale for leaders, reminding them to balance their aspirations with empathy and responsibility. In today's world, where governments and corporations often embark on large-scale projects promising progress and prosperity, the human cost of these endeavors must not be overlooked. True greatness lies not in the monuments we build, but in the lives we uplift along the way. With the Great Wall of Benin nearing completion, it stood as a formidable barrier against external threats. Yet, within the walls of the Oba's palace, a storm was brewing. The very leaders who had envisioned and overseen the wall's construction now found themselves ensnared in a web of intrigue, betrayal, and scandal. The wall, meant to protect the empire from its enemies, could not shield it from the divisions within. By the late 15th century, the Benin Empire had reached the heights of its power. Under the rule of Oba Esigi, the kingdom had expanded its territory, solidified its trade networks, and achieved remarkable cultural and artistic advancements. However, with great power came great challenges. The Oba's authority, though absolute in theory, was constantly tested by rival factions within the court. Chiefs, nobles, and even members of the royal family vied for influence, often resorting to underhanded tactics to achieve their aims. One of the most notorious power struggles during this period involved Oba Esigie and his mother, Queen Idia. A woman of exceptional intelligence and political acumen, Queen Idia had been instrumental in securing her son's ascension to the throne. She was not only a skilled diplomat, but also a formidable military strategist, earning her the title of the warrior queen. However, as Esigi sought to assert his authority independently, tensions between mother and son began to rise. The palace became a battleground of allegiances. On one side were those loyal to Esigi, who believed that the Oba's authority must remain unquestioned. On the other were supporters of Queen Idia, who viewed her as a stabilizing force within the kingdom. The conflict escalated into a series of covert plots and counterplots, with each faction attempting to outmaneuver the other. Poisonings, assassinations, and secret alliances became the order of the day. The most shocking scandal of this era was the discovery of a conspiracy to overthrow the Oba. Several high-ranking officials, including trusted advisors, were implicated in the plot. The conspirators had planned to assassinate Esigi and install a puppet ruler who would serve their interests. The plot was uncovered just days before it was said to be carried out, and the conspirators were arrested. Their punishment was swift and brutal. Public executions that served as both a warning and a spectacle. Despite the Oba's decisive action, the incident left a lasting scar on the empire. The executions deepened the divisions within the court as the families of the executed officials sought revenge. Trust within the palace eroded further, with even the most loyal advisors questioning one another's motives. The Great Wall of Benin, for all its strength, could not contain the growing discord within the empire. The lessons from this dark chapter of Benin's history are as relevant today as they were centuries ago. True strength lies not in the walls we build to keep others out, but in the bridges we build to bring people together. In a world increasingly marked by division and mistrust, the story of Benin's internal struggles serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of unity, trust, and collaboration. For centuries, the Great Wall of Benin stood as a symbol of the empire's might. A sprawling network of earthen barriers had repelled enemies, fortified the kingdom's cities, and fueled the narratives of strength and invincibility that surrounded the Obas of Benin. Yet, as history would prove, walls alone cannot protect a kingdom from the forces of change. As the walls of Benin stood tall against external invasion, they began to crumble from within, metaphorically and eventually literally. The fall of the Benin Empire was a gradual unraveling, marked by both internal strife and external pressures. By the 19th century, the kingdom faced growing challenges from European colonial powers. The Portuguese had established trade relations with Benin as early as the 15th century, exchanging goods, weapons, and slaves. While these relationships initially benefited the empire, they eventually became a double-edged sword. The introduction of firearms made the kingdom a formidable force on the battlefield, but it also fueled internal power struggles and reliance on European technologies. The kingdom's dependence on the slave trade further destabilized its economy and social structure. The Great Wall, once a marvel of human ambition, became a stark contrast to the exploitation and suffering that underpinned much of the empire's wealth. As the European colonial powers, particularly the British, shifted their focus from trade to conquest, the kingdom's vulnerabilities became more apparent. The walls, which had served as a defensive barrier for centuries, were no match for the advanced artillery and military strategies of the British Empire. In 1897, the British launched a punitive expedition against Benin in response to a diplomatic incident known as the Benin Massacre. British officials had attempted to negotiate with the Oba for access to trade routes, but their delegation was ambushed and killed under mysterious circumstances. In retaliation, the British organized a military campaign to capture Benin City and dismantle the kingdom's power. The Great Wall of Benin, though formidable, was insufficient to repel the British forces. Armed with cannons and rifles, the invaders breached the walls with relative ease. The fall of Benin City was swift and brutal. The city was set ablaze, its treasures looted, and its people either killed or displaced. The Oba, who had once been revered as a divine ruler, was captured and exiled. The destruction of the city marked the end of the kingdom's sovereignty and the beginning of its colonial subjugation. What remained of the Great Wall was a haunting reminder of the empire's former glory. The wall, which had been built to protect the kingdom, ultimately could not withstand the forces of history. Its physical deterioration mirrored the decline of the values and unity that had once defined the kingdom. The wall, once a symbol of strength, became a symbol of vulnerability. The fall of Benin teaches a powerful lesson about the limitations of physical barriers. Walls may offer temporary protection, but they cannot defend against the deeper vulnerabilities that arise from disunity, exploitation, and reliance on external powers. In today's world, this lesson is particularly relevant as nations grapple with issues of globalization, economic dependency, and the challenges of preserving sovereignty. True resilience lies not in building walls, but in fostering adaptability, unity, and shared purpose. Though the Great Wall of Benin now exists only in fragmented remains, its story continues to inspire and provoke reflection in the modern era. The wall was not merely an architectural achievement. It was a cultural and historical symbol of resilience, ambition, and the complex interplay of human strengths and flaws. Today, it serves as a poignant reminder of the importance of learning from history to shape a better future. For the people of Benin, the wall is a testament to the ingenuity and determination of their ancestors. Efforts have been made to preserve and study the remnants of the wall as part of broader initiatives to reclaim and celebrate African heritage. Archaeologists have uncovered sections of the wall, shedding light on its construction techniques and the lives of the people who built it. Historians have revisited oral traditions and archival records to piece together the story of the wall and the kingdom it once protected. These efforts represent a growing recognition of the importance of preserving history, not just for its own sake, but as a means of understanding and honoring the past. The lessons of the Great Wall of Benin resonate far beyond its physical boundaries. In a world increasingly defined by walls, whether physical, ideological, or political, the story of Benin serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of isolation. Walls can protect, but they can also divide. They can symbolize strength, but they can also perpetuate fear. The true legacy of the Great Wall lies not in its physical structure, but in its ability to provoke reflection about the values that underpin societies. One of the most profound lessons from the wall is the importance of unity and collaboration. The wall was built through the collective efforts of an entire kingdom, but its legacy was undermined by the divisions and inequalities that arose during its construction. Modern societies can learn from this example, recognizing that true strength lies in inclusivity and shared purpose. Whether addressing issues of immigration, trade, or cultural preservation, the story of Benin reminds us to build bridges rather than walls. The Great Wall also serves as a reminder of the importance of resilience and adaptability. As the Benin Empire faced challenges from external powers, its reliance on outdated strategies and structures contributed to its downfall. Today, organizations and nations must embrace innovation and adaptability to thrive in a rapidly changing world. The wall stands as a metaphor for the need to balance tradition with progress. Finally, the wall's legacy underscores the importance of cultural heritage. The story of Benin is not just about its fall. It is about its achievements, its values, and its contributions to human history. By preserving and celebrating the remnants of the wall, the people of Benin and the world at large can honor the past while forging a brighter future. In conclusion, the Great Wall of Benin is more than a historical artifact. It is a source of inspiration and reflection. Its story is a reminder of the complexities of human ambition, the importance of unity, and the enduring value of cultural heritage. As we look to the future, the lessons of the wall can guide us in building societies that are not only strong, but also just, inclusive, and resilient. The end.